Have you ever caught yourself thinking, would I ever want to live in a nursing home? What if a nursing home isn't the end of your independence, but the start of an exciting new chapter? Stick around to hear real stories that completely flip what you thought you knew about aging. Maybe you're picturing a bland, silent corridor or a communal dining hall that feels a little too regimented. Or maybe you've heard about friends who moved into assisted living and actually found relief and companionship they never expected. The truth is, life in a nursing home can be full of surprises, both good and not so good. And it's not always how the brochures portray it or how people whisper about it when they're afraid of getting older. Some folks discover a nurturing, activity-filled community. Others find frustration, longing for more independence or better care. If you've ever wondered which side of the story is closer to reality, stick around, because the gap between fear and truth can be wide, and you deserve real insight into what life in a nursing home can truly be like. It might start with a single thought: I'm not as steady on my feet these days, or I can't manage all this housework alone. For some, family steps in, gently suggesting that maybe it's time for more professional help. Others make the decision on their own, driven by a desire for social contact or an easy way to have medical services nearby. And sometimes, there's no plan at all. An accident or sudden health issue forces a rush transition. However you get there, the moment you walk through the doors of a nursing home can stir up a confusing mix of relief, fear, hope, and maybe even a little sadness for a chapter of life that's closing. But with that transition come layers of unexpected truths, from the good, the new relationships and freed up mental space, to the tough, the rigid schedules, the loss of certain freedoms, the institutional routines that can wear on your sense of identity. Let's unravel some of these pluses, minuses, and surprising realities so you have a clearer vision of what life in a nursing home might really entail. One of the biggest pluses many residents discover is a sense of relief from daily burdens. Imagine going from struggling with laundry, cooking, yard work, and constant repairs to a setting where chores are mostly handled by staff. You might initially feel a bit guilty handing over these tasks, especially if you've prided yourself on independence all your life. But over time, a number of people start to feel freer, with energy to spend on the things they genuinely enjoy. You could join an art class or a gardening group, have lively discussions in a lounge, or simply read more books than you ever had time for before. Strange as it sounds, some older adults say they have more social life in a nursing home than they did in their own houses, especially if they lived alone. When everything is under one roof, medical care, dining, recreational activities, it can make day-to-day living more convenient. Take Linda, who's 78 and was once a teacher. After her husband passed, she spent a few years in her old house feeling isolated. Tasks like grocery shopping or yard maintenance started feeling overwhelming. Linda finally made the choice to move into a small nursing home with assisted living wings. She found that not only did she feel a weight lift from her shoulders, but she also made friends, other retired teachers, a few folks who love to discuss poetry, and a staff member who always chats with her about classic movies. For Linda, it was a surprising transformation. She says she's rarely bored and often jokes, "I might be older, but I have more of a social life now than when I was 50. Still, that doesn't mean everything is rosy. One undeniable minus is the loss of certain freedoms. No matter how comfortable or well-staffed a facility is, you're suddenly living by someone else's rules and schedule. Meal times are set, lights might go out at a certain hour, and visitors can be restricted by official visiting hours, though that varies by place. It can feel jarring, especially if you're used to making spur-of-the-moment decisions, like deciding to eat dinner at 9 p.m. or staying up past midnight to watch old sitcoms. In a nursing home, you might find dinner served promptly at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. And if you want to snack at 10 p.m., you might have to negotiate with staff or rely on what's available in a communal kitchen. It's not that staff are trying to be mean. They have routines to manage for dozens, sometimes hundreds of residents, with dietary guidelines and medical schedules to uphold. But for the new resident, it can feel like turning into a cog in a machine. That structured environment, though, can be an upside for people with complex medical needs who value predictable routines. Many older adults with chronic health conditions appreciate that, at a certain time, a nurse will come by to check on them or administer medication. They feel safer knowing there's always somebody on call if something goes wrong. And for some, that sense of safety outweighs the frustration of not being able to decide exactly what time to eat or how late to stay up. It's a trade-off: more security, less spontaneity. Or consider Harriet, who's diabetic and used to struggle with medication schedules. Living alone, she'd often forget to check her blood sugar. Since moving into a nursing home, Harriet feels calmer because staff help manage her medication and diet. She has fewer health crises now, and that's a huge comfort for her and for her adult children who used to worry constantly. Harriet misses whipping up late-night snacks whenever the craving hit, but she knows she's better off health-wise. Still, health and safety aside, emotional well-being can be a roller coaster. One unexpected truth is how communal living can affect a person's sense of privacy and self. Older adults might share a room or at least share walls, and staff come in and out to perform routine checks. That can feel intrusive. Even with staff who are friendly and respectful, you might sense a loss of personal space. Take John, who's 82 and a bit of an introvert. He used to spend hours alone in his backyard, just admiring the birds. Now he finds it challenging when housekeeping staff knock on his door to tidy up, or a nurse pops in to see if he's taken his meds. He's grateful for the help, yes, but he sometimes misses the simplicity and solitude of his old backyard. Over time, John learned to schedule a small walk each day on the facility grounds, picking less busy hours to be outside with fewer people around. It's not his old backyard, but it gives him that daily moment of calm he cherishes. Another factor that catches some folks off guard is the social dynamics. It's not like high school, of course, but any place where people live in close quarters day in and day out creates certain social circles, cliques, or even conflicts. You might have neighbors who click with you right away over card games or a shared hobby. Others might rub you the wrong way, or you them. Then there's the emotional aspect of living alongside people who may be dealing with serious health conditions. It can be sobering or even depressing to watch a friend decline. Sometimes you form a bond with someone, only for them to pass away faster than you expected. That can weigh heavily, making you confront mortality on a more regular basis. It's why a number of nursing homes have grief counseling or chaplain services on site, and why many residents find solace in small group discussions or spiritual gatherings. These resources can be hugely beneficial. Without them, it's easy to feel that you're riding an emotional tide without a lifeboat. On the flip side, those same communal dynamics can bring surprising joy, a sense of belonging, lively mealtime conversations, and the relief of not being alone. Some folks develop deep friendships, bonding over past careers, mutual life experiences, or the shared reality of adjusting to this new environment. They celebrate birthdays together, watch evening TV shows in a group lounge, or help each other with small tasks. The depth of community can be heartwarming, especially if you spent previous years feeling isolated. Where else might you find an impromptu sing-along in the hallway at 2 p.m. or a spirited debate over the best movies of the 1970s? These little pockets of warmth can make the difference between a bleak day and a brighter one. That's an aspect many outsiders don't realize. A nursing home, when it's well-run and fosters community, can actually feel a bit like living in a small neighborhood. Familiar faces, daily greetings, the comfort of routine, and the occasional flair of drama. Yet there's a reality that's hard to talk about without a twinge of sadness. Some nursing homes are underfunded or understaffed, which can lead to subpar care. This is a serious minus, and it's why families often research facilities meticulously before moving a loved one in. Staff turnover can be high in certain places, leading to inconsistency in how residents are treated. Aides might be juggling so many tasks that they can't offer each person the individual attention they deserve. In these circumstances, a resident might feel neglected or rushed through personal care routines. That's not to say every home is like this. Plenty have excellent staff who go above and beyond. But the inconsistency between one facility and the next is a major reason the nursing home question looms large over older adults and their families. You can have one home that feels almost like a caring extended family, and another that leaves residents feeling lonely or overlooked. This is part of the unexpected truth. The label nursing home doesn't guarantee a uniform experience. It can range from truly empowering to genuinely disheartening. And that's something prospective residents and families should keep firmly in mind when evaluating options. Money is another factor that can't be ignored. Nursing homes can be incredibly expensive, and the financial strain can affect the entire family. Some folks rely on Medicaid or Medicare coverage, but it's not always straightforward, and the coverage might not fully include every service. Others spend down their personal savings or sell their home to afford private pay nursing home care. When the financial reality sets in, families may discover that the facility they thought looked perfect on the tour is out of reach cost-wise. Or perhaps they move a loved one in, then realize the monthly bills are far higher than anticipated once extra services are added. The tension this creates between wanting the best possible care and managing costs can weigh heavily on both the resident and their loved ones. It might sound blunt, but you have to consider the business side of nursing homes. They have budgets, staff salaries, overhead. This financial piece is often one of the hardest to navigate, and it can overshadow some of the positive aspects if you're constantly worrying about how long your funds will last. That's a minus, but it's also an expected truth. Good care is worth paying for, but not everyone can afford the top-tier places. And that discrepancy can lead to heartbreak or guilt within families. Some older adults even resist going to a nursing home purely to avoid burdening their children with the cost. Yet in many well-run facilities, there are unexpected joys people rarely talk about. For instance, staff might put together small outings, a trip to a local park, a museum, or a lunch at a nearby cafe. They sometimes host themed parties, bringing the outside world in. Nursing homes may invite local school kids for intergenerational activities, leading to sweet moments of connection between elders and youngsters. You might see folks who've barely spoken all week light up when a kid hands them a homemade card. There can be holiday celebrations that feel genuinely festive, with decorations, music, and laughter echoing through hallways. Some places even have therapy animals like dogs or cats that wander around to comfort residents, or a garden area where residents can plant flowers together. These glimpses of normalcy, or even fun, can counteract the institutional vibe. They add a sense of spontaneity to a place that might otherwise feel overly structured. If you're open to it, you might find new meaning or a fresh hobby you never thought to try before. Harriet, from earlier, discovered she loves painting watercolors, something she never did when she was living on her own. Another resident taught himself to play the harmonica just because the activity coordinator offered free lessons on Tuesday afternoons. These are bright spots that show how a supportive environment can still spark growth, no matter your age. Of course, it would be unrealistic to ignore the emotional toll of transitions. Many older adults experience a kind of identity crisis, going from the person who took care of a household to the person receiving care. That shift can be humbling or even painful. A big minus is the sense that you're losing autonomy, especially if you were fiercely independent before. Some might even feel like they've regressed to a childlike state, needing permission or assistance for things they used to do solo. The challenge is to recognize that accepting help doesn't diminish your value. In fact, it can be a demonstration of wisdom, knowing when you need support and acknowledging that it's okay to lean on others in certain phases of life. If that perspective resonates, it can transform frustration into acceptance. But it's not instantaneous. For many, it's a day-by-day emotional journey, learning to be comfortable with a new normal. Then there's the question of family involvement. One unexpected truth is that in a nursing home, you might actually see your relatives more or less often than before. Some families feel more confident visiting because they know their loved one is in a stable environment. They pop by for Sunday lunches or stop in after work, having friendly chats in a place that's almost like a second living room. Others, ironically, might feel they don't have to visit as often because mom is being taken care of, so they place fewer check-in calls or come only on major holidays. That can create emotional ripples. Some residents feel abandoned, wishing their family understood that professional care can't replace genuine family presence. Meanwhile, adult children might assume everything is fine, not realizing that their loved one yearns for more personal connection. This gap can cause heartbreak. A well-run nursing home typically encourages family visits, organizes family days, and might even invite family members to certain activities. But it's up to each family to decide how involved they'll be. So while some residents thrive with supportive families who show up consistently, others find themselves feeling more alone than ever, despite being in a facility full of people. Amid all these ups and downs, one surprising truth emerges. Living in a nursing home can be both simpler and more complicated than you expect. Simpler in that you don't worry about cooking, cleaning, or major home maintenance. You have medical staff on standby, which can be reassuring. Yet more complicated because you must navigate new relationships, adapt to scheduled routines, and balance your longing for independence with the reality that you're in a shared environment. The day you move in can feel like turning a page you can't turn back. You might feel that sense of, there's no going home now. And for some, that finality can be scary. But for others, it's a relief to step into a new chapter, especially if living alone was becoming a burden. The key is to remember that both emotional states can coexist. You might grieve the home you left behind while also feeling you've gained a supportive network. Those complexities make up the real tapestry of nursing home life, one that's rarely captured in a single line on a brochure. It can help to focus on the environment's culture. Some nursing homes emphasize activities, social connections, and personal growth. Others place heavier focus on medical care, with less attention to recreation or community building. So if you or a loved one is exploring this path, do your homework. Visit in person, chat with staff, peek around corners to see how residents interact, taste the food if possible, ask about staff turnover rates, and see if the facility smells clean or if there's a lingering odor that might indicate deeper issues. This type of observation can reveal more about the day-to-day reality than any marketing materials can. If you see residents smiling, staff engaged in friendly conversation, and a sense of genuine warmth, that's a promising sign. If you see staff hurried, ignoring residents' needs, or if everything feels too clinical with no personal touches, that's a reason to dig deeper. The environment can shape your entire experience, from how comfortable you feel to how much you grow or shrink emotionally. One last factor to highlight is that life in a nursing home is rarely set in stone. Some folks use nursing homes for short rehab stays after surgery, then transition out. Others might stay for a year or two before moving to a different kind of senior community or back with family if their circumstances improve. And some remain there for the rest of their lives, forging deep friendships, joining committees. Yes, many nursing homes have resident councils or committees to give input and making that place a genuine home. No matter which category you fall into, it's possible to create a sense of personal identity and routine within those walls if you keep an open mind. Residents often decorate their rooms with personal items, family photos, favorite quilts, maybe a small bookshelf with beloved novels. These personal touches help preserve a sense of self, reminding you and others that you've led a life full of stories before stepping into this communal chapter. Ultimately, the pros, cons, and unexpected truths of nursing home life can't be captured in a neat little package. But hopefully, this exploration has peeled back a few layers. You might find relief in not cooking or cleaning, or discover new friends next door, while also bristling at fixed schedules and losing some independence. You might feel safer with medical staff nearby, yet miss the spontaneity of jumping in your car to go shopping on a whim. These mixed emotions are entirely normal, and acknowledging them is a big part of making peace with the decision. If you find yourself considering a nursing home, or you're supporting someone who is, approach it with eyes open. Realize it can be a place of new beginnings just as much as it can be a place of challenges. Talk to people who've lived it. Ask what made them thrive or how they overcame frustrations. Recognize that staff can be your allies if you communicate your needs clearly, while also understanding they have many residents to care for, so patience and kindness go a long way. And most importantly, Remember that aging is not a single path. A nursing home is one possible route. Sometimes the best, sometimes a fallback, sometimes a stepping stone. Either way, the real power lies in how you or your loved ones shape the experience. Staying curious, socializing when you can, protecting your emotional boundaries, and knowing that your essence, your passions, stories, and humor doesn't disappear just because you change your address. Thank you for exploring these truths with me. Life in a nursing home can be complicated, but it's also filled with genuine humanity, from the staff who work hard to brighten residents' days to the folks who share meals together, forging unexpected bonds. If this conversation resonated with you, or if you have thoughts and stories of your own, we'd love to hear them. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. By doing so, you help us keep bringing these real-life topics to the forefront, where we can all learn, share experiences, and make more informed choices for ourselves and our loved ones. Because after all,